Waiting for the recording sign to show up. All right, cool. So hello, everyone. Welcome to today's APAC Community Call. So we do have a packed schedule, so I will go straight to our agenda. So today, first, we will have Mui to give a quick APAC news. Specifically, we have a ATL tutorial coming up in August, and she'll talk more about the agenda, the time, the date, as well how to register through Odyssey website. And then secondly, kind of really, since our last community call was kind of really packed with the updates from other chapters, so we have Singapore's regional updates today. And then that was followed by the mini tutorial we have on Oncology CDM presented by Professor Seng. So with that, I will give to Mui. I'll give an update on the ATL tutorials. So Mui, would you like to share the website or?
Can you pull it up? So it's really, so we decided that we're going to do a tutorial on the week of the 12th in August. So I believe it's a Thursday and Friday. It is a packed 2-day, 8-hour session that we're going to do. And the registration is open right now. So if you guys want to do that, you can see down there, there's a click to register link. So the link that you see is really just to the Odyssey APAC Community Call page. And on there is a link to it. So here it's very simple. You just need to fill in your names and your information, and we will send you a confirmation email once we get enough people to register. The environment will be provided to you. We will have Odyssey in the box set up. So you don't have to have anything installed or anything. Odyssey in a box is something you can just get to as long as you have remote desktop on your desktops. And if you go back to the agenda, so the 2-day agenda that we have is really around ETL. Day 1 is really more focused on the data analysis portion of it. Where we talk to you guys about how to utilize some of the tools that are available in Odyssey, as well as some of the gotchas, right, to do source data analysis, vocabulary mapping, and then ETL mapping. Now, the way we have the course laid out, there is going to be a lecture, exercise, and review. And actually, after the end of day 1, there is actually homework. So the homework is then what we'll review on day 2 to get you guys a bit more familiar with actually the mapping exercise, not the actual technical portion of it, but the common data mapping portion of it, because we think that's very important for everybody to understand. And then day 2, we'll go a bit more into like what are some of the common issues that folks encounter during an ETL conversion, and what are the common gotchas that folks constantly forget or realize at the end there that they did wrong, right? And then we'll go into the principles of ETL development. We won't actually be sitting there writing code because that will actually take a lot longer, but we will give you guys some guidelines and principles as to how and methodology on how you can improve your ETL development. And we do have some exercises there. And finally, we're actually going to show people how to install the data quality dashboard and how to utilize that all inside the environment. Okay, so again, it's 2 days. The second day, we don't believe will be 8 hours, but we'll see how long things go. So if you have an interest, please feel free to register. It does start, as you can see here, Korean Standard Time, 9 o'clock, so 8 a.m. Singapore time, Taiwan time, as well as China time. And then I think it's 10:30 Australian time. If I got all my time zones right, and then Japan would be the same as Korea. So that's when they start. You'll see the breaks in there. We will send you guys material as well as the environments way beforehand. So anybody got any questions on the tutorial? Now, the one thing I do want to point out, it is going to be in English. However, we do have professors on here that can speak the different languages. So if you have questions, one, you can post it in the native language, or during the breakout rooms, we can actually move you guys into a different breakout room where you can speak the native language where necessary. right? So that is something we did take into account, but the actual lecture and everything will be in English only. Again, we will send the decks out beforehand, so then you'll have it. So if you need to translate it, you guys can, translate it yourself or have it as a side note. Okay.
Yeah, again, I hope or encourage the whole APAC leaders to attend or join the tutorial sessions to respond to their native, their own regional, members, because they can then they can ask or speak in their own language in the chat room or during the breakout session. So I hope you to join this tutorial whole time to for your regional people.
We are going to record it, so the recordings will also then again be available on our APAC community page afterwards as well as all the exercises after the fact. So if folks aren't truly able to attend but still want to, that information and that material will be available after the fact. But of course, this is the time where you can ask, questions and we can have the discussions. So the other thing that we ask is, especially during the ETL review and the common issues on ETL conversions, that's when we would like for folks to come in with their questions, with their problems and their issues. There is a mistake on here that's actually supposed to be an hour long, so that folks can actually, talk about what are some of the problems you guys face, more like a office hour consulting time, right? So then that we can provide some insights for you guys in the morning. So that's kind of what we were hoping to be able to accomplish on day 2, along with the whole ETL development methodologies and the data quality dashboard. So anyone got any questions about the tutorial? Everybody's going to sign up.
Mui, Roger in Melbourne. We've been through the ETL process. We've just completed it actually, and my analyst David, I don't know whether he's on the call. He might be on the call. He might be interested in some of the content, but not all of the content. Would it be okay for him just to pop into the sessions that he's interested in?
Yeah. I mean, people can come and go when they choose, right? It is online. I can't stop anybody from doing anything. But yeah, and as long as they're okay, because some of the information from the first one may be used as the second one, right? Because it's a series. But again, if they're able to catch up or just we can tell them where the files are, and they're able to do the first set of exercise to get to the second set of exercise, then yeah. I mean, especially if people want to join that common issue in ETL portion of the discussion, like you said, you've already done the ETL conversion, but maybe that's something you guys want to come in and join on the discussion and listen to. Feel free.
Great.
Anyone else got any questions? Cool. Then I hope all you guys will be signing up and a ton of people will be signing up. Cross my fingers. Well, something like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, Jing, that's my update.
All right, thank you, Mui. And then next, we will go to Professor Seng. So, Professor, would you like me to share the deck? I do have it here, or you want to share from your side?
I can share. I can share from my side.
Okay, thank you. I'll stop sharing.
Okay, so yeah, good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm Morning here from the Singapore chapter, and my co-chair is Nyamt. As mentioned, our update is supposed to be 2 weeks ago, but it was because last time the discussion was very active, so it's delayed until now. So I've been spending the last weeks working on these slides and expanding it from 3 slides to 100. So sit back and relax. Let's go. Just kidding, right? Still 3 slides, no worries. To begin with, as we have been sharing with the community, we are really excited and glad that we managed to convince our Ministry of Health to adopt the OMOP CDM as our national standard, while they are trying to build a integrated clinical data repository to support research across the island. I understand that our colleagues from Korea have been doing this since 5 years ago. We are just in the beginning of a journey while we are helping all our public institutes to convert their electronic medical record data into the OMOP CDM. Right. So, but although we are late, 5 years late, but we're still very excited about this initiative. And obviously, there are tons of things that we can learn from our colleagues from Korea or other regions chapters who are more experienced than us. Well, besides that, also we are facing a gap here in terms of talent pool, right? Because in Singapore, I'm lucky that I find Salva, who from my lab, who've been charging the ETLs for my lab, and then Niam has Sridham, and then we have a few colleagues from our HSA who are able to do the ETL process in Singapore, but that's about it. And obviously, these few guys can support the entire island's ETL effort. So now we are working with our National AI Singapore program and our National AI Office. Hopefully, they will come together and fund this AI apprenticeship program that lasts for 9 months. Well, the first 2 months involves mostly the classroom or workshop style kind of training programs. To train up, we are envisioning up to 20 software engineers or data engineers in Singapore about the ETL process of OMOP CDM. Right? So our ETL workshops in August really come in very timely. We have already circulated to all members, and I think some of them already registered. And after this 2 months training in the apprentice program, then all these apprentices will be assigned or deployed to the involved public institutes for the next 7 months for their hands-on internship or attachment, while they will be helping our public institute to convert the electronic medical record data to the OMOP CDM. And once we have more details and confirmation about this program, we will definitely share with the community. But I say the ETL tutorial in August definitely serve as a very good starting point, but we would love to work with Moi's team and everyone else to probably see how we can expand this to a 2-month long, a bit longer than 2 days, a training program, right? That make it more formal. Yep. And besides that, on study-wise, locally in Singapore, our paper sharing our experience in the ETL process to OMOP CDM has been published in the AMIA Applied Clinical Informatics Journal. And also, thanks for Yuan's effort, our APAC hypertension study has recently submitted to Lancet Digital Health. And if you've been following the impact factor just released for 2020, Lancet Digital Health impact factor, I think, is at a range of 20+, right? It's a very promising journal. And next, I would like to sort of pass the mic to Salva to update on a few ongoing studies that we are involved or we are initiating in Singapore.
Okay, yeah. So hello, everyone. Currently, we are working on 3 studies. The first 2 studies is from Singapore, and the third study is from South Korea. For the first study, we are basically trying to predict when will be the next hospitalization and what will be the associated diagnostic code with that. So for which we are currently working on building the cohorts and curating the data and things like that. And for the second study, we are working with Dr. Jason, who advised us for our APAC hypertension study. So here we are trying to see whether the omeprazole medication on top of clopidogrel and aspirin has positive or negative effect. That's what we are trying to see, for which we are again building cohorts using Atlas. And for the third one, which is from Chan's team, we are currently in the stage of running the R package and assessing the feasibility of our data set. So at this point, I would like to thank Chan and his teammate Dong Yoon for being very patient and helping us sort all the technical issues. And also I would like to thank Chidam for his support in running this. So yeah, so that's about the 3 studies that we are currently working on. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think I would say that's about it for Singapore. Welcome any questions and any suggestions. And then we are definitely new for any network study, right? So we hope that from Jason's work or some of the work that we could be one of the first network study that led by Singapore. Of course, like we would like to learn from very experienced people like Chan or the rest.
Yep, thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was really exciting. And for the second network study to access the efficacy of effectiveness of omeprazole in the patient with ADAPT, since you know that my previous study using Odyssey network, which was published in JAMA, was the accessing the effectiveness of like clopidogrel in those patients. So I may be able to help some like study design or the building the cohort for that study. So if you need me, please let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Selva I will arrow Selva again, right? Yeah, I say I was very lucky to have Selva. So Selva will definitely reach out to you. And like I say, it's our first time. So and you are very experienced. So definitely would love to have any support from you.
Yeah. Thanks, Chen.
Thank you.
All right. So Moy, back to you. Yeah.
Actually, Jing, back to you.
Oh, okay. That's how it works.
I think next up is, if I don't remember wrong off the top of my head, is Professor Tan Yu is going to give us a mini tutorial on oncology.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Professor, would you share from your side?
I'd like to share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a very brief introduction about the OMOP oncology module. So I do not think that I can address all of the elements or how you can convert your data into OMOP oncology module in this very short time, but I'd like to introduce what is going on for oncology data in Odyssey network. And this slides were created by Rima Belenkaya from the Memorial Sloan Cancer Center, which is one of the leading cancer center in the world. And she is a head of the data part of Memorial Center. So this is a course of a patient with bladder cancer. The patient has been diagnosed with bladder cancer, and then the patient has conducted genotyping, and later he or she has had a surgery, and then there was a recurrence of the disease, and the patient has consecutive chemotherapies or other procedures after that, and the patients have the recurrence or the metastasis, and then he or she died. This is the kind of the exemplary course of the patients of cancer, and and to capture these information, we created some kind of the extension modules for oncology. And there is a cancer diagnosis module and cancer treatment model and an episode model. So I'd like to introduce what it means in oncology module. Why do we need additional extension for cancer? Because cancer has very a different granularity compared with other diseases, especially in cancer, the staging, topography, metastasis condition, or genome variants is really, really important. So we set the basic diagnosis and the diagnostic modifiers. So you can define the cancer according to their topography and histology in base diagnosis, and then you can add additional information for cancer, including staging, topography, histologic pattern, dimension, extension, metastasis, margin, or biomarker. So for this, the Odyssey decided to adopt ICD-03 for condition. So usually we use Stomach CT for most of the condition concept in our system, but for cancer, we decided to use ICD-03 concept ID because it has histology and topography. So in the SNOMED CT concepts, they do not have the histology in most cases, but ICD-03 has that histology and topography, like where the cancer is. So in this case, the concept ID, OMOP concept ID, or OMOP concept based on ICD-03 will be the carcinoma of posterior wall of bladder, which means there is no special histology in this cancer, but it is located at the posterior wall of the bladder. So it can be populated like this. You can see that condition concept, OMOP concept ID according to the ICD-03, and in the ICD-03 source value, there is a combined ICD-03 codes, including histology and topography. And you can add more additional information by using measurement table as a modifier. So we add several modifier concepts into OMOP vocabulary, which is a major achievement among oncology working group. So there are the concepts for topography, where the cancer is, or the histologic patterns, or the staging or grading based on the CAP or NASER. And there is a concept for tumor growth or node metastatic staging, or metastasis itself, or tumor size and margin after surgery, or even more, there are genomic variants concepts in OMOP vocabulary now from the CAP, CGI, CIVIX, ClinVar, JAX, and NASER. So this is a measurement table, but there is additional two columns named modifier of event ID, modifier of field concept ID, to link these additional information with other condition or other concepts. So here you can see the measurement concept ID is derived serial pathological stage 1, which means stage 1, and because the patient has a T1 G3 bladder cancer, which is stage 1. And even more, you can add the genomic variants here, information here. So the measurement concept ID here means KRAS transcript variant substitution in position 35 of guanine replaced by adenosine, maybe. And the value of concept ID is the present, which means there is a variant, or it can be absent value if there is no mutation, even though you try to detect that variant. And that's how you can add your additional information to the for the cancer. And you can see the source value here, which is based on the HGVS nomenclature. And you need to add modifier of event ID or field concept ID. So again, all of the modifier information in the measurement should be linked to another table. Like usually it will be the concept occurrence, which means cancer, primary cancer. So in here, the primary cancer was the bladder cancer, and the primary key in the concept table, which is the occurrence ID, it was the 139. And in the measurement table, you should put the event ID, which is same in the occurrence ID here, which was 139. And modifier of field concept ID means it was derived from the condition occurrence table. So it was concept ID for condition occurrence ID. So it is OMOP vocabulary because the name of the column is concept ID. So you can see how we put the base diagnosis using ICD-03 concept, and then you can add more additional information as a diagnostic modifiers in the measurement table. And in the base diagnosis, you can it can represent histology and anatomical site of the cancer, and you can add additional information, including these dimensions. And again, it is very reasonable that it has a one-to-many connection between them. And there is a cancer treatment model too. So in cancer treatment, individual the regimen or the aggregated treatment is much more important than the individual drug or procedure. So such as if the patient had the chemotherapy regimen such as gemcitabine plus cisplatin, then that regimen is really important than the individual drug event. So it should be derived from the individual drug exposure, and then the patients can have radiation therapy or surgical therapy like that. So we populate these information in the episode as episodes and episode table. So in usual standard OMOP CDM, the drug exposure should be in the drug and procedure should be in the procedure as a domain of the drug or procedure respectively. And these individual treatment can be captured in procedure occurrence table or drug exposure table. So these are the low level treatment, but it should be aggregated as a higher level as in the episode in the cancer oncology module of OMOP CDM. So why do we need episode model? So what are episodes? So it is continuous period of disease or treatment that have distinct clinical meaning and are composed of multiple events, such as the cancer can be progress, or it can be recurrence, or it can be decrease. So these kind of the episodes should be captured in the OMOP CDM too, and the treatment should be captured in the OMOP CDM as a regimen rather than individual drug or individual procedure. And why do we need them? Because we need analyze of these information to identify the overall or progression-free survival or time to progression or response to the treatment rather than the individual drug. And we can get them directly from source data or algorithmically derived. We can drive them algorithmically. I actually published a paper about for the algorithm driving these information from the EHR or claim data recently. So we added new table named episode. There is a episode concept ID and the time and parent ID, which means which represents that we can represent a hierarchical episode in these table. The episode concept ID can be remission, and we can add the start and end date, and the object concept ID would be the blood cancer in this case. So it means remission of blood cancer. And we can capture treatment regimen and this table too. So episode concept ID would be the treatment regimen, and the object concept ID is epirubicin monotherapy. And how it was derived, that then you can add that episode algorithmically derived from the EHR, or this episode derived from the registry. So it means this table means this row means treatment regimen of epirubicin monotherapy from the 2014 5th to 2015 10th. And again, we can populate the hierarchical information in this table using parent ID, like here. So you can because cancer regimen composed of the many cycles of each cycle. So there is a cycle 1, cycle 2, or cycle 3, and so on. Yes, and you can put the number of the cycle and the episode number here. So there are parents episodes which overarches this episode, and there is a children episode of the representing the single episode and the treatment, or this is dynamics, or this is extent. I will skip this slide. So again, there can be overarching this episode, and there are many descendant episodes of this parent episode. Yeah. So we can analyze the time. We can identify the time to metastatic disease, or we can identify each episode of cancer treatment very in details. Yeah. So I just want to show what is oncology module and which information can be captured or populated in the oncology module, and what I'd like to introduce the vocabulary used in the oncology module, such as ICD-03 or NASER, and there is a additional table named episode in the in this module. So again, this is the summary of the cancer episode mode, and you can see how brief you can understand how you can use it briefly, I believe. So that's it. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know.
I do have a question. I know oncology CDM is a kind of relatively new, I mean, compared to normal CDM for sure. So I was just wondering, like, how many adaptations are there already? Because I think that's probably, I don't know if others on the call have the same question, but kind of just how many data do we know, or like who or how many data has adapted oncology CDM for their oncology data?
Actually, I don't know exactly, but I've seen in that some of the American institutions, including Columbia Memorial Sloan Cancer Center, Northwestern, are adopting this module, and especially Memorial use this module, this database for COVID-19 cancer patients research. So that's what I know, but I'm not sure. Do you know anything about Mui? You are muted.
Yeah, I think a minimum of at least 5, because I know ours is already, because we use ours to test out the whole regimen logic. Because there's a whole logic for building regimens and episodes and that the community put out. And I know MMRF also, the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation, also was helping out with it as well. So at least 5 institutions. So like you said, Memorial Sloan, Columbia, IQVIA, Northeastern, MMRF. So those are the 5 that I know of.
And here I share the screen for there are the genomic variants vocabulary in OMOP vocabulary node, which is HG and C vocabulary here, and you can see the cancer modifiers here, like to represent the lymph node metastasis or other conditions of cancer, or histology or something like this from the NASER or from somewhere.
So, Mui, can I ask you a question? So this is becoming mainstream in Odyssey, is it?
Yeah, it's called the Oncology Extension. So if you really want to know, overall, it's an additional of, let's see, 2 or 3 tables, really, and an updating of the vocabulary, and then a few additional columns in some of the tables to be able to help capture like the relationship between condition and measurement, right? Because like with the ICDO 3, ICO 3, they have only certain information that we put into the condition table, but the rest goes into the measurement table. So there's a link between the two. And then there's the episode table that's new, but what's new are like regimen calculations as well as episode calculations. So there's logic that's new. There's vocabulary that's new right there. ICDO, HEM, OINC, there was a list of them. Yeah, right there. and then some new tables. So that's it. It still works with the existing model.
So one of the hospitals I'm working with is a cancer centre, and they've done nothing on OMOP yet. So would your recommendation be that, you know, they should adopt this module when they,
Yeah, because I think, you know, the whole concept behind the original model was that we didn't cover some of the, you know, like the biomarkers and all that. It was a lot harder to capture, especially like regimens and episodes. That concept doesn't exist inside the normal OMOP model, but with these new additional tables, all of that exists now.
Interesting.
So yeah, it breaks out your topology a lot more too. So, and they went through extensively. I can tell you that working group probably went through 2 years of development in order to come up with this whole concept. And I know they wanted to keep going, and then Christian goes, "Come on, can we just put in the principle first?" So that's when they decided to actually implement it. And that's what Chan was talking about earlier, that you got those few sites. They decided to start implementing it before they actually rolled it out, because they wanted to make sure it actually worked before it got rolled out, right? So they went from concept for over 2 years. And I remember sitting in Colombia for 2 hours and didn't decide on anything after 2 hours at 9 p.m. at night. And I know, Chan, you were on the phone too that day.
I believe that it takes more than 3 years, and I remember that the terrible night with Christian and Rima, they debated a lot and like actually fought, you know. And I was just middle of them. So yeah, you can find the oncology module and how you can populate that. The Odyssey GitHub, you know, there is an oncology work group, repo, and you can find it at the wiki site, wiki page. And recently I published a paper, how to, capture the regimen from the EHR or claim data, and we suggest a kind of a algorithm for that, like this, and it is open source, so I think you can use it. You might be able to use it for your EHR or claim data to capture the regimen data from the individual drug records.
Yeah, and I can say, I'm going to preface it with the fact that nothing here is perfect, right? People actually have to use it and try it out before, we can constantly enhance. And I know they're constantly enhancing it. Like we currently are working on a project with MMRF to test out some of these algorithms and some of these using it to validate. They have a small grant that we're able to utilize to do some of this stuff. So, and I know that the oncology working group, they spent a lot of time trying to document all this. So their wiki site is quite extensive if you guys go there. They had a whole group that was doing actually the coding. They had a subgroup that did the coding, and then they spent a lot of time doing this documentation.
Excellent. Looks very interesting.
Yeah, you guys should check it out if you guys are really interested in the oncology, what we call the oncology working group. And most people know it as the oncology extension, right? So,
Can I ask a general question?
Of course.
So I was asked a question myself yesterday and I wasn't sure what the answer was. So the oncology extension came about because of a use case, because cancer treatments and cancer journeys are complex and we needed an extension to the CDM to be able to deal with that. Is that how that came about? Yep.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do we go about sort of suggesting or initiating new extensions that might be required? And one of the questions I had yesterday was around, journeys within a hospital visit, for example. So would that be another extension which would be very similar to what you've got here? So instead of, the journey over cancer, it's, journey through the health inpatient system, maybe transferring hospitals or, that kind of thing. So how would we go about doing something like that?
So go ahead, Chan.
Personally, I believe that this extension module is not only for cancer. You know, the episode system or the modifiers in this is, you know, we can use this system for other disease or other journeys, like you said.
Okay.
It can be, I think it can be used for rheumatology patients, because in the rheumatology, we usually have several regimens, like the chemo regimens, for the rheumatology patients or other autoimmune patients, or, you know, even in infective patients, we do have several course of the antibiotics, which is really like something like chemotherapy regimen. Like we do have first line anti, and you know, we proceed to the next line of antibiotics, which is a regimen or cocktails of antibiotics to cover a broad spectrum of germs. So I do believe that, again, it is not only for cancer. And
yeah.
Okay, great.
I echo what Chan says, because I know that Christian and folks have thought through this, and that they've even looked at some of the other disease areas, like Chan says, and how maybe the episodes or some of the stuff that they're doing can apply to other therapeutic areas. How would you go at verifying this? Number one would be posting in the forum and saying, hey, we have this scenario. Is there existing tables that we can utilize, right? And then we can also bring it up in the CDM working group. And at that point in time, you know, if there's an interest in it, then we can form a mini subgroup inside the CDM working group to talk about the stuff. And then maybe the group will come to the same conclusion that, hey, you can just use the episodes. We just have to add in new modifiers or add in new vocabularies, or, you know, the new types to help to distinguish the difference between what you want versus what the oncology team wants, right?
Great. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah, the other way would be if you guys get enough interest, like the psychiatry working group is another working group that was created because there was a general interest in better understanding how we can utilize the OMOP CDM to deal with all the psychiatry use cases. Now, right now, there's still no modification to the CDM for the psychiatry working group as of yet, but they have been working on extending the vocabulary. So making the vocabulary more extensive for psychiatry related questions, right? So that's the other way you can form it, if you can find enough interest from all the different regions. Like the psychiatry one, I just happened to know a bunch of different groups from different worlds of the country who had an interest in psychiatry, and they came up with a bunch of questions. I'm like, I don't think the CDM covers that. So I said, okay, can I form a psychiatry working group, and do you guys want to join? And they said, yeah. So then we just started it, created it like that. So those are the different ways you can actually, you know, get some of your use cases that you may or may not currently see into the CDM.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi. So I have another general question. Currently we have received metabolomic data like amino acid, acyl-carnitine, and things like that. So does anyone here have experience of transforming that to OMOP CDM standard, or it should go into measurement table?
Actually, I do not have a experience using metabolomic data, not yet. And as you see here, we deal with variance data as using by expanding the vocabulary for genomic variants. So I'm not sure there is a kind of the vocabulary we can extend the vocabulary for metabolomic variants or metabolic information. So yeah, because it's totally yeah.
Understand.
Any other questions?
All right, cool. So I think that's all we have for today. And please just want to kind of re-emphasize again, now that the ATL tutorial is open for registration and the registration deadline is July 23. So please make sure for you or anyone who you know that are interested for the ATL tutorial, please sign up for that. And also, if you have kind of small groups that you are going to attend the tutorials together, please still sign up separately so that we will know an exact count of people that's attending, and then we can kind of assign boxes and everything. We can be better prepared for the training. And also, quick preview for our next community call. Well, here, hopefully by that time we'll know kind of more details about the global symposium, which is coming up probably almost around 3 months from now. So I'll hopefully have some preview of the contents and what's planned.
2.
Oh,
2 months.
Yes, 2 months. Sorry.
September. So yeah, September 15th and 16th. And for those who did do, if you guys put through submissions for the posters and the abstracts and demos, just so you know, the scientific community committee is reviewing them right now. They're all due. We're all supposed to have them reviewed by the 23rd, next Friday. So I blocked out 2 days to do that. I don't know about you, Chad, but I blocked out 2 of my days to do those reviews. And then they will send out the feedback to the teams, to the groups, so that they can get their papers or their poster prepared. So you should be hearing back pretty soon after we finish our reviews. So I don't know about you, Chan, but I haven't started mine yet. So yeah, cool.
Cool.
Sorry, Jing, we interrupted. Did Jing disappear again?
Sorry, I muted myself. But yeah, so that's all I have. And thank you guys so much. And we'll upload this video to the Europlace odyssey.org/APAC. And have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a nice one.